Welcome back to Good Morning Quad Cities at 11. We have Craig Hignight here answering all of your plant and garden questions right now on the WQAD Facebook page. So Andrew, take it away.
Yeah, let's check back in with Chris, and this is a great question. Does the heat and humidity affect the mustache the same way it affects my veggie garden?
Yes, they both wilt. The thing is, the humidity does affect the mustache, and same thing. We've had some disease problems brought in, and that's the humidity in the garden. Nothing to really worry about. Get out there with some copper fungicide to get those under control. And remember, in the middle of the day when we're 85 or above, the plants just physically can't move water fast enough through their bodies, so they can look a little wilted. They'll pop back in the evening, so check morning and evening on watering.
Okay.
Good advice.
Jim is asking, is there any plant or any vegetables that can still be planted for this season, or is it too late?
No, there are still some things. The important thing, when people come in at work, I always say, read the label. The package of seed will tell you how many days to harvest. So like, if you could find a 56-day bean, you've still got time to get a bean crop before Mother Nature shuts the garden down. You were asking about lettuce.
Yep.
Lettuce can be a little problematic this time of the year. It's too warm. The seed won't germinate, but you've got plenty of time. Once the weather cools down, you'd still plant a fall crop of seeds or start them up in the shade of the house where it's not really hot, and then transplant them out into the garden.
Sandy's asking the best way to get your hydrangeas blue that are supposed to be the color blue.
Well, the best thing, you use an organic acid reaction fertilizer like Hignight, but don't get carried away. Hydrangeas do not like a lot of fertilizer. And then you use garden sulfur in the area around the plants to help lower the pH. Garden sulfur to turn hydrangeas blue.
Okay. And Margie is curious to know, can you take cuttings from catmint and root it in soil or water? Which works best?
I would say catmint would probably root fairly well in soil. If you use a little root stimulant or root tone on it, we are talking a virtual weed once it's in the garden. So catmint should root very well in soil, but you can also do it in water, I'm sure.
Tammy's got some lilacs and wondering, when is the best time to trim those down?
Well, you're right at the limit. I mean, if you were going to trim on lilac, it's not a matter of trimming them down. You cut too far into a lilac and it doesn't bloom. You want to thin it out. Take the tallest stem, follow it down, and cut it off as close to the ground as possible. If it's still too tall, take the next stem and then the next stem, slowly bringing the plant down, never removing more than 25% of the entire bulk of the plant in any one year. And that way, by thinning, you never mess up the bloom on the lilac.
Nice.
Okay. Pam says that she bought a lime tree 2 years ago. It has several blooms, but never a lime.
It could be. I hope you've got it outside during the summer. The bees do help with that. You should be using a citrus fertilizer like Citrus Tone, according to the directions on the package. And citrus really do need to be outside. They are not a year-round house plant. You know, they grow out in full sun down in Florida. So this time of the year, it should be out on the patio. If it's not blooming well, trim it just a little bit, because they bloom on that new growth that comes out. A little pruning will quite often bring on a full flush of bloom, but do get on top of that Citrus Tone fertilizer.
I never knew that. Well, Craig, thank you so much for joining us today. And be sure you join our Facebook Live every Wednesday so you can be part of the conversation. And there you can submit your questions. And Good Morning Quad Cities at 11. We'll be back in just a moment.